Alright, this is Steel Talons for the Sega Genesis. This is a game that I played originally in the arcades. It came out in the arcades in 1991. It was a very cool arcade cabinet that you sat inside, and you had the flight stick and the collector, I think it's called, the one at your side that you use to adjust the engine speed and the angle of the blades, and it makes the helicopter rise up in the air or lower. So you have that by your side and your kind of, typical flight stick in front of you. It was early 3D graphics. I believe it used the same engine or arcade board as Hard Drivin, which was a previous arcade game from Atari that has similar cabinet that you sat inside with steering wheel, really going for a realistic kind of simulator using 3D graphics. At least for the time, it was pretty advanced for the time. So yeah, that's one that I remember seeing in the arcades and playing, although I was probably 10 years old and had no idea what I was doing. But yeah, I didn't know it was on the Sega Genesis until I stumbled across this in Jumbo Video recently. And I've been on a bit of a kick with these, 3D flight sim games on the Genesis. I've got, F-22 and MiG-29 that I've shown. And so, yeah, I like showing these, and the price was right. It was in decent condition, other than that instruction manual, as you may have saw. But yeah, a complete inbox with the instruction manual, nonetheless, at a decent price, so I picked it up. I actually really like this game. It runs at a atrociously low frame rate. It's got to be like 5 or 6 frames per second at times, maybe even worse. But somehow it hangs on to any controllability whatsoever. It's slow to react, and it's fairly playable considering I like the simple controls. This doesn't use the 6-button controller, it only uses the 3-button controller, and it's very simple. I mean, up and down on the D-pad moves the helicopter forward and backwards, and left and right kind of steers it left and right in a way where it tilts. A is missiles, B is machine gun, and then C does a variety of things. You basically hold it down to do different things. So if you're holding it down and you press up and down, that'll change your elevation. And you can see like a little bar graph on the left side of the screen go up as you go to full elevation, and then slowly you'll gain your elevation, and vice versa. You can put it down, and again, there's a little bit of a delay, but you put it down and leave it, and your helicopter will gradually work its way down. While it's changing elevation, you can still move forward and backwards. You can still steer and shoot. So it's kind of a just set it and forget it kind of a thing. And then if you hold down C and press start, it will change to a first person view. And also if you hold C and press left and right, you'll still steer left and right, like you're still rotating left and right, but you don't tilt as much. So for whatever that's worth, I think I'm not really sure why you'd need both of those. You would think it would like strafe, and I probably am gonna get shit for the way I said strafe, but I don't know. What do you say, strafe or straff? Strife? I don't know. Strafe sounds the most Strafe makes the most sense to me. Anyways, you would think you'd be able to strafe, and you would think that would be why you would have like 2 modes of steering. And I don't know if that's like what they were going for, and it just didn't work out. Maybe in the arcades it was different. I think in the arcades you had foot pedals, which would do that, I believe, in a real helicopter. Or no, the pedals would control the rear. I don't know what you call it. The vertical stabilizer in a plane. But there's that little propeller in the back that basically compensates for the torque rotation of the main rotor, and that steers the helicopter. And that would steer it in a way that's kind of like when you're doing your C, holding C and steering in this. But again, in the arcade, I think there was pedals, and you would think it would strafe. Well, the pedals would steer you. The moving the stick left and right would strafe, I think. But either way, in this game, it doesn't really work out. You can't strafe. You're kind of rotating on the spot either way, it seems like. It's just whether or not you are tilting as you rotate. The tilting is really exaggerated when you're in the first-person view, so it's kind of annoying. It's very quick to tilt left and right as soon as you press left or right on the D-pad. So you can have the screen just tilting back and forth really quickly, even though you're not turning that quickly. So that's kind of annoying. I think it's easier just to play it in the third-person view. You can also see enemies that are like beside you or below you. If they're really close to you, there's more of a chance that you're going to see them on the screen when you're in the third-person view. So yeah, don't really care for the first-person view, but it's pretty cool that you can switch views. The fact this is full 3D helicopter combat flight simulator running on a Sega Genesis is pretty impressive. Obviously it runs like dog shit, but it's a stock Sega Genesis. It'd be cool if there was, more games like this that used the SVP chip, because something like this game with an accelerator chip, Super FX style, would have been pretty cool. But nonetheless, like I said, it's barely playable as far as the frame rate goes. It is playable. I mean, I've managed here. It's fun changing your elevation. It's fun to come down in between the mountains and find like a tank down there, and then you come up and you might find a radar dish or something on top of the mountains. So it does feel good to raise and lower your altitude, and so again, it's pretty cool that this runs on a stock Sega Genesis, and it is playable. It is fun. So if you're into these kind of games, I guess check this one out. Again, I didn't even know it was on the Sega Genesis. It's one I vaguely remember playing in the arcades. But again, in 1991, I was 10 years old. I probably sat in that thing and just had no idea what I was doing. I'd probably enjoy it now, though, if I ever saw that arcade. Anyways, that's Steel Talons. See you guys later.